Jean Marie, take your camera off.
I'm sorry, take my camera off.
Yes. And Victoria, please turn your camera off.
Stop video.
Don't stop video. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, and welcome to our virtual forum for the Great Neck Parks Commissioner. My name is Regina Gouvenier, and I am president of the League of Women Voters of Port Washington-Manhasset. As you know, our local league and the New York State League and National League are nonpartisan. We do not support or oppose any political party or candidate. Our mission is to engage you, the voters, by giving all the candidates for a given office a public space to answer your questions in a structured way while maintaining civil discourse. Before we begin, I want to thank all the members of our league who have teamed up to make these forums happen. Most important to our league is Judy Temkin-Jacobson, Chair of Voter Services. She works tirelessly to ensure that the needs of candidates and the public are met. Tonight, Judy will serve as our timer. Many of you have submitted questions through the advertised bit.lys, which will remain open through the forums. If you have not yet submitted a question, you may do so now. Our vetters for this evening are Sarah Desiderio. As in-person forums, she will select questions to forward to our moderator as the forum progresses. Our technical advisor is Judy Estequist. If there is an issue that matters to you, email me, president@lwvofpwm.org with what it is. Our league encourages new members to take leadership roles. We describe one piece of our mission as making democracy work. This includes all our voter services work, letting candidates speak directly to voters on issues that matter through forums like this, and through a variety of publications. We also register voters at community events, and it includes also educating voters and advocating with legislators on issues involving voting and elections, but also on redistricting, natural resources, and healthcare. We only take positions on issues after studying them extensively. We hope you'll consider joining the league, which you can do on our website, as I said, LWV of PWM. Remember, the league is not for women only. Jean Marie Posner will be our moderator for this evening. She is not from Great Neck, as our rules require. She will now read our rules and procedures. We'll then move on to opening statements and questions from the audience. Jean, your turn. Would you like to introduce the rules?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, talk.
Me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll just start off by saying I'm a member of the League of Women Voters from outside of your district. I will be your moderator. Although you may be familiar with the rules of the virtual debate, I am required to read them and order views. candidate first opening statement. The moderator will open the meeting with questions gathered from the audience following your opening statements. All the questions asked during the debate have been submitted electronically, mostly before or on the same day of the forum. So we will try to get to as many questions as we possibly can. Electronic addresses for questions will be publicized with the forum and available on the League of Women Voters website. Each candidate will be given 1.5 minutes, approximately 90 seconds, to answer each question. There will be no rebuttal. Questions may be addressed to a specific candidate or to candidates in general, although all candidates will be given an opportunity to answer any question addressed to a specific individual. The moderator will rotate the order of responses for each question. The league member will be the timekeeper. 1.5 minutes from the end of any given period, the timekeeper will warn the speaker by a prearranged signal. When the time is up, the speaker will be allowed to finish the sentence. Repeatedly speaking past the deadline may result in a candidate being muted. Candidates will have 2 minutes for closing statement. Since the purpose of the forum is to determine the candidate's views, no substitute speaker will be allowed to appear in place of a candidate who is unable to attend. The use of props, charts, or visuals and the display of campaign literature is prohibited. In accordance with league policy, audio or video recording by authorized members of the media will be permitted only if agreed to by all the candidates present. The league maintains the exclusive rights to record the forum and publish it on the League of Women Voters controlled pages. Both party transcript or recording may be published without permission from the league. Those are my rules. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this debate. Your views, opinions, and comments are important, and we look forward to hearing from you this evening. In alphabetical order, we will begin with 3-minute opening remarks. Let's start, Mr. Aquilon. Aquilon? You
Can
there?
I unmute? I just unmuted.
Okay, please unmute. And you have 3 minutes for your opening statement.
I got 3 minutes.
Yes, you may begin.
Judy, you're muted.
I'm still muted?
No, you're fine.
Please turn your video on too.
Oh, that'll help.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay, we see you and I think we will hear you.
Okay. I'm running for Parks
You have
Commissioner.
3.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm running for Parks Commissioner, and I feel I have the skills gained as a Park District employee for 20 years. And I want to bring transparency and inclusion to the residents so they can have the people who aren't involved feel that they have a say. And I want to be a people's commissioner, a full-time commissioner, listen to their needs and interests. And I'm a professional tax preparer, and I have a little financial background as far as budgets are concerned. And I feel that there needs to be a change. And I think I'm the one to do it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Feng, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dorothy Feng. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting the Candidates Night this evening, and thank you all for joining us today. I am so grateful that I have made many friends as a resident and mom of 2 young children, and through the community service. As Albert Einstein once said, learn from yesterday, live for now, hope for future. This motto guides my actions. The important thing for me is to never stop to questioning. The Park District is a cornerstone of Great Neck and has been for decades. I have met many of the Great Neck residents who grew up in Great Neck in the 1950s and 60s. They shared with me their wonderful memories of attending Barstow Camp and ice skating in the memorial field, or ice skating at Parkwood when it was outdoor. I have knocked on doors, engaged with Park District employees, talked to our superintendent and all our park commissioners. My goal is to understand a view from the broadest spectrum of the community. Win or lose, hoping to win, of course. I'm truly honored to have had this opportunity to get to know many of our residents and call you as my neighbor. As a park commissioner, I promise to make sure our beautiful parks and facilities continue to be the source of fun and recreation for all our residents. I have an undergrad degree in recreation and hospitality management, an MBA in marketing management, and data analytics diploma from NYU. I'm currently running a small real estate commercial real estate company, and also I have the past work experience as a business analyst. From these financial skills will allow me to evaluate different proposals, the financial impact of the different proposals. I have demonstrated record of public service leadership. I'm currently serving as a leadership role in the Parkville PTO and the Great Neck Chinese Association. I lead by example. Let's work together as Great Neck residents to improve our beautiful parks and facilities. Great Neck, great parks, great fun. I hope have your support. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ms. Goodman, would you like to give your opening statement, please?
Hi, everyone. One second. Everybody could hear me?
Yes.
Okay. League of Women Voters, my fellow candidates, friends and residents of Great Neck Park District, good evening. I'm Victoria Goodman, and I'm delighted to participate in this forum. A special thank you to the League for inviting me here. I am interested, caring, concerned, and a motivated resident prepared to work my absolute hardest as Park Commissioner to serve the best interests of Great Neck Park District residents and the parks themselves. It's been my privilege for more than 20 years to call Great Neck my home. My husband has been a resident for over 40 years. Together, we have raised our children here and know well everyone in the parks and the parks themselves are vital and a powerful part of what makes Great Neck great. I have become especially aware of the importance of our parks through the pandemic. Whether a safe place to socialize or just to enjoy time alone with my husband or my dogs, parks really are making a difference for all of us these days. The role of Park Commissioner should be to serve as steward of the parks, to bring about the greatest good for our residents now and for years to come. As Park Commissioner, I will strive to impress upon our residents that the Great Neck Parks are extensions of our own backyards. For the ever-growing population of apartment dwelling residents, the importance of parks and green space cannot be overstated. As park commissioner, I will work with other commissioners to carry out responsibilities to our residents and to the parks themselves. These include creating safe spaces for social interaction and private reflection, which is very important to me, the repair, maintenance, and beautification of our parks, sharpening the budget, and reducing costs involved in providing a robust array of programs and activities for our residents. Our tax dollars must be put to work smartly. We must deliver not only security and supervision, but also the best entertainment, social events, and diverse recreational initiatives for every single resident. This is what it is important to me. This is why I'm running. As park commissioner, I will give my time enthusiastically, listen intently, learn, and review issues with a fair and open mind, and take action to implement initiatives prudently and deliberately. Let's all love where we live. Great Neck, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. McGirr? I know
McGirr.
I didn't pronounce it right. Please correct me. Ms. McGirr?
McGirr.
McGirr, okay. Sorry. Could
Should
you
I be-
please give us your opening statement?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the members of the League of Women Voters for hosting this event this evening, giving us all the opportunity to present ourselves tonight. My name is Grace McGirr. I am a fourth generation lifelong Great Necker who for 50 years has grown up in the Park District as a resident. I love our parks. It's in an ever-changing hometown. The parks are an old friend that is always there welcoming you with its beauty and improving with age. I have wonderful memories of my life as a child and a teenager at the parks, the pool and the rink, working summers as a camp counselor at Allenwood and as a gate attendant and a lifeguard at Stepping Stone. And now as a parent, I get to share the cherished parks with my children. My two children have taken classes at the Great Neck House, ice skating, swimming, and tennis lessons at the Parkwood Complex, attending Camp Parkwood, Pal Soccer at Memorial Field. We are a family that loves nature and the outdoors, and we're at our happiest when we are in the woods or in the water. As a family, we enjoy exploring the woods of Kings Point or fishing and kayaking on Long Island Sound and walking on the beach at Stepping Stone and swimming at Parkwood Pool. My professional background of over 20 years has been in the hotel group sales industry, and then I was recruited by Goldman Sachs. I was the facilitator between thousands of clients and numerous vendors, negotiating prices, contracts, RFPs, handling multi-million-dollar budgets. These jobs required me to listen and to learn about my clients and their needs, working with resources to fulfill those needs while always being mindful of budgets, which I successfully achieved. I'm a leader and a team player with expertise in fiscal budget management, financial analysis, client service, policy development, event program and project management, vendor management, and technology implementation. My educational background is an MBA in management and human resources and a bachelor's in marketing and management. When I had my children, I wanted to get involved in their lives when they went to school. So I served on the PTO at Parkville and then at E.M. Baker for 6 years at E.M. Baker, 2 of those years as co-PTO president, where I worked with the co-president, the PTO executive board, the families, and the staff of the school to find ways to enrich the children's experiences and create fun events. One of the events that I pioneered was bringing the first world's ever E.M. Baker World's Fair. When I take on a role, I am passionate about it. I delve in, asking questions, listening, learning, sharing what I have learned, and being an advocate to achieve results. I am passionate about upholding the Great Neck Park District mission statement for the over 33,000 Park District residents. I'm a Great Necker, putting all residents of the Park District first. All residents are VIPs. Membership has its privileges, and we must ensure the safety and security. And it would be an honor to be Commissioner of the Park District. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our last statement will be read by Ms. Tamari.
Thank you, Jean Marie. Good evening, dear friends and neighbors. My name is Vanessa Tamari. I'm a 26-year Great Neck resident. I'm a graduate of St. John's University School of Law, and I'm licensed to practice law in the state of New York. My husband, Farshad, is a full tenured professor of biological science at Kingsborough Community College of the City University of New York. We reside in Kensington with our two boys, Ethan and Benjamin, who both attend Great Neck Public Schools. My work experience includes more than 10 years of practice as an attorney in the field of insurance defense. I litigated a variety of cases, including lawsuits against municipalities such as the City of New York. Through my work with these cases, I learned the importance of preventative maintenance of grounds and facilities and conducting frequent inspections to make sure repairs are done to avoid accidents and injury. More recently, I've managed a real estate investment portfolio with property in Brooklyn, Queens, and Los Angeles. My duties included meeting with investment partners, keeping meticulous records of business transactions, and conducting evaluations of the various properties to ensure that they were being utilized to their maximum potential. I've dedicated a great deal of my time to volunteering in the Great Neck community. I served 2 years as co-president of the Great Neck North Middle School PTO during the challenging COVID-19 pandemic. As co-president, I spent countless hours listening to parents' thoughts, concerns, and conflicts as we all navigated hybrid and remote learning. I listened and assisted parents with the understanding that different people have different wants and needs, and every question and concern should be met with compassion and empathy. Prior to being co-president, I served as shared decision-making committee parent representative at North Middle. I also actively participated and volunteered for the PTO at EM Baker for the 8 years that my boys attended. My boys and I dedicate time to volunteering to deliver food to needy families, the elderly, and people in the community who have fallen ill. My son, Ben, also volunteers with the therapeutic skating program. Our family strongly believes in giving back to the community. As a family, we feel tremendously grateful for the parks, facilities, and services that the Park District has given us. We consider Parkwood Ice Rink to be our second home, and our boys, coaches, and teammates to be part of our family. We love the outdoors and believe that spending time in nature and physical activity are necessary for both mental and physical health. We feel blessed to be surrounded by a variety of beautiful parks and recreational facilities that we can enjoy. I hope to give back to my community by serving it as park commissioner. If elected, I promise to maintain the level of public safety that residents expect and deserve. I also promise to protect our precious green space and protect our trees, trails, beach, and other natural resources. I promise not to support excess development and to be fiscally responsible. As I did as PTO co-president, I will continue to be responsive to all phone calls and emails and will make myself readily available to discuss any residents' concerns. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Now it is time for our questions, and each of you will have 1.5 minutes to respond. I will direct the first question to Mr. Aquilon. And I think all of you had covered this a little bit in your opening statement. It is a question that continues to come up. And the question is, in your view, what is the role of the commissioner? Mr. Aquilon?
Yes, the role of the commissioner is to set policy, setting the annual budget, approving contracts, and responding to the residents' concerns at meetings and other parts in the district, approve program events, and oversee general business of the parks. And they also have to comply with OSHA, with safety rules and regulations, to make sure that all the workers are educated in a healthy working condition environment, and ensure cost-effective services. And their mission is to provide parks, open space, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Feng, would you answer the same question? What is the role of the commissioner in your view?
Yeah, sure. I think Gary already answered some of the points. The park commissioner set the policy, review the budget, approve the contract, and the programs, oversee the general business of the park district. As a park commissioner, the park commissioner have fulfilled the fiduciary duty, listen to the feedback of the community, and also consider the advice from the expert.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Goodman, what is your view of the role of the commissioner?
I think to listen and learn. I think the most important thing is to get out there and talk to our residents that go to the parks and the kids that enroll in different programs. I think that's one thing a lot of commissioners don't do these days. You got to get out there. I've been out there for, I don't know, I started campaigning in January of last year. Like I wanted to start campaigning in January. I'd been to a lot of commissioners' meetings. I've looked into all the budgeting that they have dedicated their time to. I think our role as commissioner is to oversee budgets, to make sure that money is spent wisely, and that all the programs that are facilitated through our park district are done properly.
Okay, thank you.
Done.
Ms. McGirr, role of the commissioner, what is your view?
Thank you. Well, Gary did an excellent job. And if anyone wants to double check, fact check that, it is on the Great Neck Park District website. So I won't repeat it. And it wasn't my closing, so you saved me time as well. So besides the budget policy, listening to the concerns of the public, the OSHA, the government agencies, everything that was mentioned. I would also agree with Victoria and Dorothy as well in what their statements were. We need to listen to our residents, and being 33,000 plus, most of them are not necessarily involved as much as some others. And I think that's where we need to reestablish those advisory committees so that we can hear from all of the stakeholders in our park district. I know recently we just had the dog park discussion. So to keep people involved so they're not being reactive to what they're hearing, let's all be proactive as a commissioner so that we know what's coming and to work together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tamari.
I think the most important duty that the park commissioner has is to respond to the concerns of residents through transparency and communication. It's very important to make yourself available to people for their concerns, for their complaints, for their suggestions. Throughout this process, I've been available on Facebook, on Nextdoor, on Instagram, and I've also met with community leaders, civic leaders, homeowners association presidents, and I've listened to what the needs are. I also have a good relationship with the school principals through my work in PTO, so I can hear what the community needs in terms of our children, our kids, our youth. And believe it or not, the principals also have a feel for what's bothering the parents as well. So the act of responding to the concerns is not just coming to park district meetings, it's also making yourself available and being present at the events and being present on the grounds and making sure that you're available to answer everyone's questions and hear them out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next question. In what ways have you engaged with management of the parks prior to your candidacy? Have you attended meetings? Have you contacted park staff? Are you in dialogue with them? Ms. Feng, could you please lead off and answer that question?
Sure. My involvement has been on the user end. of the park. My family have been utilized all the facilities. We love the tennis courts. We go to ice skating. We are using the birthday party packages. We also attend a lot of the recreation programs. I am a happy resident that love Park District through the past year, except the challenging time of COVID. My husband and I, we played a lot of tennis. My husband lost 20 pounds. So we really benefit a lot from the Park District, and we want to give back. So I have been started attending the meetings, read through the budget for the past 2 years, and especially I'm very happy with the master plan. I think I surveyed about 600 residents. It should definitely be a roadmap for the Park District administration to review every year and update it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Goodman, how have you engaged with management of the parks prior to your candidacy?
Well, first of all, I'm a businesswoman. I've been in the business world for many, many years. I own my own company. I know about budgeting. I know about fiscal responsibilities, about negotiations with different companies. As far as my involvement in the Park District, I've been here, like I said, 20 some years. I raised 3 kids here. I'm a huge tennis player. My sons are all tennis players. So we've used, and Dorothy knows this, we've played tennis together the whole summer. We've used the tennis center, the rink, the ice skating rink. My kids were just there. We visited almost every park. I've personally been talking to a lot of people. I have a broken ankle and I was walking around on crutches for the last 3 months, talking to a lot of the park residents, the park people that work there. And just to be honest with you, I think we need a lot of change. I'm not saying the park commissioners did not do a good job, but I feel like we need a fresh set of eyes on the policies and the directives of the park.
Okay,
Thank you.
very good, thank you. Ms. McGirr,
Can you please restate the question?
absolutely. In what ways have you engaged with management of the parks prior to your candidacy? In other words, have you been attending meetings, engaged in conversation with park staff?
Thank you. Yes, I have been engaged with the management from the superintendent down to the supervisors and staff at any park that I go to. I like to know everybody's name when I'm in the parks, so I have that relationship with them. And then I also have the relationship that I know where to go when there's an issue. A lot of people, I think, come to Great Neck and aren't aware of the chain of command or where to go, and they ask for questions on Facebook. I was really concerned when COVID hit, and that's when I started to be on the Zoom meetings with the Park District. And I even sent an email to the superintendent, Jason Mara, with my kind of punch list of what should be going on for the pool, because I was really concerned about it reopening. He got right back to me and he was like, wow, this is really detailed. And he's like, we have about 90% of this stuff, and I really appreciate it. We also reached out when I was PTO president and just on the board at Baker to the superintendent, asking for resources for our school. And the schools and the Park District have always had a wonderful relationship, and I would like to strengthen that while I'm commissioner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tamari, how have you engaged with management of the parks prior to your candidacy, attending meetings, conducting conversations with park staff?
So yes, I have attended meetings. I'm pretty quiet at meetings, but I have attended. I've also always taken the opportunity to speak to Jason Mara, to speak to Anthony, to tell them how I feel about things, to tell them my observations, and to tell them what I'm hearing in the community. There are ways to get the information across that I find are helpful. For example, my kids play hockey. And I interact with the coaches a lot, and I interact with Dan Marsala a lot. And oftentimes parents will talk in the rink amongst themselves. And I decided to take it upon myself to make a WhatsApp group so that parents can talk about their concerns, can relay their wishes, their concerns, their suggestions. And I found that to be a useful tool so that when we do go to the management, we have the consensus of all the parents. So it's not just about what I want, it's about what the team wants, what the parents want, what the kids want. So using social media wisely and responsibly, could be a good way to get a feel for the community. I think WhatsApp groups are a great way for people to express themselves, and then for one person to take it upon themselves to contact management and relay the concerns or the suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Aquilon?
Yes. I don't attend too many meetings because I'm working with the Park District. There's no one that has more experience in relating to the supervisors and superintendents and commissioners than I do. I work with Grace's husband. Willie is a master supervisor and a consummate worker. Grace's husband. Through the superintendents and commissioners, and we have problems not often, but when we do, we have to relate to the supervisors and the superintendents, and whether it's a stuck gate or a lock that's not been attended to, there's all kind of day-to-day issues. But there's no one that has, I have 20 years with the Park District, and I relate to all the supervisors daily. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to our next question. How have you used the Great Neck Park District, the various parks within the district? You, your families, how have you spent your time in the park? What programs have you and your family members attended? Let's start with Ms. Goodman. You need to unmute.
I'm
Ms.
trying.
Goodman?
Sorry.
Okay, good. You're with
Okay,
us.
like I said,
You're with us.
like I said, our whole family are avid tennis players. My sons both play for the USTA. My husband he had full scholarship at BU playing tennis. I started playing tennis 7 years ago. My kids also love hockey. So when it's time, like they just went this past Friday, when it's time to get on the ice, they're on the ice, they enjoy it. So as far as being a part of the facilities, we love it here in Great Neck. And I want to tell you, in the last 2 weeks, I visited every single park in our district. I'm talking about neighborhood parks and sorry, I have this written down. So the major parks and the neighborhood parks. And they need a lot of work. They really do. They need a lot of guidance from the commissioners. They need supervision. There's lighting issues that need to be worked on. And as far as parks, I've been to every single park. My kids grew up here. I have a 23-year-old, a 16 and 13-year-old. So believe me, I've been to every single park you can imagine. But mostly my family enjoys tennis. We enjoy hockey. We enjoy like all the winter sports, everything you can imagine. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McGirr?
Which generation do we start with? As Dorothy had mentioned, my parents did skate on the Memorial Field Park when it was an ice skating rink. So generationally, we have utilized all of the service at the Park District. But for myself, growing up, it was the pool and the rink. And now with my children, they've gone for the swimming lessons, classes at the Great Neck House, tennis lessons. They've gone for ice skating lessons, and as well as they've gone to Camp Parkwood, which didn't exist when I was growing up. So they've enjoyed that for the past 6 years as well. We have been to every single park. We have our specific park that we like for certain things. You know, if we're going to go fishing or kayaking, obviously it's at Stepping Stone. Going to the woods or Marshmallow Roast is at Kings Point Park. We love our neighborhood parks as well. We'll go to Upland since they upgraded that and have a little zip line there for the kids. It also depends on the age. When my kids were smaller, we used the parks for their playgrounds. And now we're into different things, and they're more into their sports and their free time and their bike riding and their outdoors. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Tamari.
So my boys play hockey. It's a huge part of their lives. They've played ice hockey for years now. They belong to the Great Neck Bruins. They belong to the Herrick's Knights school team, and they played for the House League when they were younger as well. My younger son, Ben, was a Little League champ several years in a row at Memorial Field. So we're very familiar with Memorial Field. We spend lots of springtime baseball games there. We skate at public sessions. My boys grew up when they were younger at Firefighters Park. We attended the Tuesday night concerts there that are generously provided by the Village of Great Neck Plaza. They enjoyed the playscape at Firefighters and the sprinklers. My husband and I love Kings Point Park. We are avid hikers, and my husband does volunteer tours, educational tours for kids through Kings Point Park, educational tours about urban ecosystems and ecology. And on a weekly basis, we are at Allenwood on Saturday afternoons. That's our Saturday afternoon place to go. And finally, of course, they're the concerts at Stepping Stone. So yes, we are avid park goers. We are avid users of the park. We definitely take advantage of all the facilities and everything the Park District has to offer, and we're very appreciative. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Aquilon?
Yes. I always attend the pool. I love to swim. I take care of the dog park myself. I work there. I used to work at Kings Point Park. I used to take care of the tennis courts. And of course, I attend all the concerts in Stepping Stone. And I mostly attend all the parks. Of course, I've worked for 20 years and I lived in Great Neck for 30 years. So I always attended all the parks. I started in Thomaston Park, and now I'm at the dog park, which I enjoy immensely, and I take care of it by myself. I'm alone there, and well, that's it.
Okay, so thank you. Ms. Feng,
Yes.
could you tell us?
I have two young children, 2 and 4. I actually learned ice skating with my daughter together. Whenever she joined the program, like, why not? I can learn with her together. So I literally learned ice skating about 2 years ago with my daughter. Now she's better. She can spin and kind of like a dance around. And my younger one went on ice first time last Friday, joined a public session. We basically own all the programs. We love tennis. I'm in the intensive doubles team with Victoria in the summer. And we love the outdoor movies. We bring actually the local business food there for a picnic for outdoor movies. And we love the pony ride at the fall festival. We utilize the swimming pool. And I think I have to emphasize the park is for our children, but it's for the professionals too. We can go back to the program. Don't tell me you don't have time to join the program. You have the time. Let the park district open the time slot for you. And for the program you join, it could be the additional resource to support our upgrade and maintenance. And for the seniors, you can enjoy the park. I'm playing a lot of, I playing tennis with a lot of seniors. Our park is for all ages.
Okay, well, thank you. Our next question really focuses on qualifications because I think everyone enjoys the parks, people use the parks, and being a commissioner does require certain skills and certain training. So Ms. McGirr, could you tell us what your qualifications would be to be park commissioner?
Sure. As I kind of said in my opening, I'll reiterate, just being a lifelong resident, familiarity with the parks, the using of the parks for my parents' generation, my generation, my children's, being familiar with that it's for all ages and there's something for everyone and it's seasonal. And my background is, like I said before, working with the hotel industry as well as with Goldman Sachs. It's to connect the needs, and I'm listening to my clients' needs, finding solutions to the clients' needs, and always being mindful of their budgets. And I think that's what being a commissioner is when we were asked that question earlier. It's about listening, trying to find ways that are fiscally responsible to get those needs to everyone in the community, all ages, from childhood all the way to seniors, that everyone is getting their voices heard and that we're doing something for them in the parks.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Ms. Tamari, qualifications. Oh, unmute, please.
Sorry about that.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about
That's
that.
okay. Happens to
My
me all the time.
qualifications include my legal background, obviously, because I became familiar with safety issues. I've seen all different types of accidents, and I know the importance of inspecting premises, making sure that rules and regulations are followed, making sure that everything is safe, that grounds are kept in order, and that good records are kept, and that all the maintenance is done, and that if it isn't done, that we find someone that will do it, and if need be, we intervene to make sure that everything is done safely. My real estate management background also made me familiar with maintenance and upkeep of buildings, and also trained me to work with a large budget and to manage income versus expenses. Most importantly, I would say my PTO background, having worked with parents and with the school administrators during the COVID-19 pandemic, I really became very familiar with the wants and needs of the residents and the parents in our community. We are still in the midst of this, and I've developed the close ties with the community, and I've heard their concerns and what they're looking for their kids. And I also have good access to the current administrators and other PTO presidents and the people who took over for me and the PTO presidents from the other buildings to make sure that the Park District is meeting the needs of the kids in our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Aquilon?
Yes. My qualifications is, like I said before, I'm 20 years in the Park District. I know the ins and outs. I know all the parks. I have a little financial background. I'm a professional tax preparer. I had my own business for 2 or 3 years. And it's just my experience in the Park District. I know the ins and outs. I know the employers, the supervisors, the commissioners, and I know what's going on politically and with the employers. So, and with security and with the budget. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Ms. Feng?
First, I have the education background in recreation and hospitality management. I know how important it is to deliver customer service, make the environment friendly is the top priority, because for our residents, we are in the park, we want to feel it, and the employees have to be happy, and they are the front worker that we see every day. So I think customer service is very important, and I can fully understand the customer service deliver. I have the knowledge of that. I also have a financial background in various roles that I have been involved, either from running my own a commercial real estate company in managing the rent roll management, and also as my various role as serving as a board in the Great Neck community. My role involves in budget review, policy setting, events planning, fundraising, community outreach, board management, and executive decision-making. So I believe my academic background, my leadership experience in the community service, and my passion to serve all the residents will make me an asset to the Great Commissioner, to the Commissioner's team.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Goodman, will end the question with you on qualifications.
Thank you. As I said before previously, I've ran multiple companies for 15 years in the private sector. I have a lot of management experience dealing with people, prioritizing budgets, and fiscally being just important in the company's life. Because without that, you don't have, you can't really run anything. You have to know how to budget stuff. You have to know how to talk to people, how to negotiate. That is all very important. And I know that my experience is just in the private sector, but I think I bring a lot to the table as far as knowing how to deal with people, how to talk to people, how to negotiate, how to budget, and just to be out there and say hello, go to the parks and talk to people and respect their opinions and listen and learn. We are all learning. We are all of us, we're learning. Outside of Gary, who's been in the Park District for many, many years, we are all learning from our community. And I think it's important to listen and learn and facilitate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next question, and this is, I guess, a little bit pointed here. Do you have any family who works at the Great Neck Park District? And if so, how would you manage the inherent conflict of interest as their supervisor if you were elected Park Commissioner? Ms. Tamari, would you please lead us in this question?
I have no family that work for the Park District.
Okay. Okay, that's your statement. Thank you. Mr. Aquilon.
Aquilon. Yes, no, I have no relatives. The only relatives I have are my dog friends, the doggies that come to the park. A little levity in there. But no, I don't have no relatives in the Park District.
Okay, very good. Ms. Feng.
I have no ties with the past or current employees in the Park District.
Okay. Ms. Goodman. How would you answer that question? Ms. Goodman?
I have no ties as well. My son worked as a lifeguard at Parkwood Pool this past summer. Other than that, nothing.
Okay. Ms. McGirr?
Ms. McGirr, yes. Yes, I do. This question was for me. Yay. My husband, Will McGirr, is a supervisor of the parks. He has been there for 32 years. He has the highest level that he can achieve at the parks. He is a complete professional, and he is a huge resource to the board member as well as the superintendent. His job is the safety inspection of all the parks, the ordering of maintenance supplies, tree maintenance, and he's an expert on Kings Point Park. He is also part of the CSEA union, so he is part of a bargaining unit. So really, I wouldn't have anything to do with his salary or anything like that. That's something that I would recuse myself by New York State law when their contract would expire. So that's something that we knew would come. And like I said, there are no conflicts, but yes, I do have an employee in the Park District.
Okay, thank you for your candid and honest statement.
Thank you.
The
May
next
I say something?
Okay, there are no rebuttals. You
Well,
understand
it's
that?
not a rebuttal, but I'll say it later. I just
Okay.
wanted to say, I know her husband and he has the highest integrity, and I'm sure there won't be no problem if Mrs. Grace gets elected. I know him for many years, not personally as a friend, but as a worker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You know what, I'm getting to the point where I think we know each other pretty well. I'm going to start calling you by your first names. This way, there's no
Sounds-
mistakes here. Okay, so this is a financial question. What will you do to prevent tax increases for residents? How do you plan on bringing in revenue? Gary, we'll start with you.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is the parking lots. We have a parking lot, but we have 3 parking lots in the plaza, Great Neck Plaza, and one by the nursing home, which is not used a lot. And I think we can get more cars and more revenue through the parking lots. I haven't given this great thought, but that comes up quickly with the parking lots. And I think if we get $60 per person in the ones closer to the railroad, maybe we can lower the fees, the one near the nursing home, and get more people, for revenue. So that was an idea of mine that came through. That was one of the things.
Okay, thank you very much. Dorothy, how would you try to prevent tax increases and bring in revenue?
I want to have an overview for our budget. We haven't been increased the property tax for the past 8 years, and I don't think we will be increased in the next year because we have been doing really well this year by bringing the revenue back from the programs. Comparing to past 2 years, we have been using the fund balance because of the COVID challenging time. But I'm so glad that we actually bring back the programs, the ice skating, swimming pool, and the tennis programs, a big resource of the revenue. I see there's a big increase as of June 30th. We still have a lot of reserve for the budget. And for the next half year from July 1st to the end, I spoke with the superintendent. We don't have large expense. So I think this year we will not use the fund balance. I think creating the additional resource, additional revenue is to develop the programs that fits our residents' needs. And also, I think Gary mentioned about the parking lot. Again, it's about the COVID. We are 50% down from the revenue of the parking lot, but I'm sure you will automatically bring it back as we go back to office.
Okay, thank you very much. Victoria Goodman, how would you prevent tax increases for residents while bringing in revenue?
Well, we need an overview of the budgets, of course. That's the primary concern of the commissioners, along with the superintendent. It's important. I've been to so many meetings, and I could tell you, you start looking at the budget, and you're like, why are we paying for this, and why are we paying for that? It's a lot of questionary things that an upcoming commissioner has the responsibility of doing. You have to look at the budget. You have to review it, the personnel, the different parks. Like I said, I've visited almost every park in Great Neck that you can imagine. I feel like a lot of the neighborhood parks don't get attended at all. Nobody's there. Nobody's supervising them. Nobody's cleaning them. I think that we can use that space for something else. And as far as like increasing the budget, like Dorothy said, of course, we have the tennis programs, we have the rec, we have the different programs during the summer, which is very, very important to our budget. So it's just coming in, learning about the budget, overseeing it, and giving your opinion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Grace.
Thank you so much. Yes, with the budget, obviously, we want to maintain the low taxes and not raise them. And the ways to look at that too, and it was quoted in the master plan as well, is we haven't even looked into grants or New York State programs such as the Empire State Economic Development Fund. There's even another one where the villages should be maybe giving money to us as they're building so that we can find more green space for our parks. So these are different options that I'd like to look into. But another one that I know that research has already been done on and I would like to see done is to go solar. Our costs are incredible. I know some of my candidates want increased hours. Increased hours of different facilities means increased lighting, electricity, costs increase with that. So if we went solar, that would, again, reduce our costs, and then hopefully we could increase our programs. I know a lot of people think if we're cutting money, we're cutting programs, but I would like to see the decrease through various ways such as solar and grants and funds to lower that cost, but yet increase our programs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lori?
So I think it's important to work with our finance director. His name is Steve Kessler. I've met with him to work with him to thoroughly examine the budget and to work to expand whatever programs are revenue generating. We do have some programs that are more revenue generating than others, and we should look into possibly expanding those and to expand the advertising of those programs, because obviously if they're revenue generating and we bring in more people to patronize those programs, we bring in more money. Now, that's with the caveat that the park district is supposed to offer some things that aren't revenue generating. For example, the concerts that we love so much. That's not a revenue generating activity, and that's something that we've had for many years and that the people love and they cherish. But we can counter that by expanding whatever programs we do have that are revenue generating and working with the finance director to figure those programs out and with the other commissioners and the superintendent on how we can get the word out about those programs so that we increase patronage of those programs. Thank you.
Okay, very good, thanks. The next question, do you approve of the separate VIP tent with $50 admission that was part of the free concert series at Stepping Stone in 2021? And would you strive to continue to offer such an option if elected? Ms. Feng, Dorothy?
I'm sorry, can we repeat your question? $50 for what?
This is
It's the VIP access, right?
It's, do you approve of the separate VIP tent with a $50 admission that was part of the free concert series at Stepping Stone in 2021? And then would
I
you
think
continue to
Vanessa just mentioned about the Stepping Stone summer concert VIP access. I think it might be a good idea, but for that that revenue, I have to review how much additional revenue we actually gained from this new service. But at the same time, I heard from the community members, a lot of people are not happy because we are trying to promote inclusive, and the summer concert in Stepping Stone is our tradition. It should not be charged additional money, but it could be for a service. We really have to analyze like how many additional revenue we generate from the VIP access. If this is what our community is not what we want, we probably should not. But I also want to talk to the people who actually like the idea to see what their view is. But I can't make any decision before I talk to all of them.
Okay, very good. Victoria Goodman. Your thoughts on the VIP tent?
I think Yep, I've been to a lot of the concerts at Stepping Stone this summer, and they were a savior. Thank God for them. I think the parks did a really good job with the concerts themselves. The VIP, I totally support. It's not a lot of money. It's $50, and it's vendors that could come in and provide a service to people that are at the parks and are enjoying the concert and their time there. So I totally support it.
Okay.
Oh, also,
good.
can I just mention one more thing? I
Sure.
have time. I think we should do more with bringing like local vendors, local restaurants to come and maybe set up booths and provide food and drinks and anything that the community might want. But like Dorothy said, I think it should be examined. We should talk to more people, more residents, and see what they want and take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Grace?
Thank you. As I said in my opening statement, I don't know if I ran out of time or not, but to me, all Great Neck Park residents are VIP. And when that's one of the activities, you know, when we have tennis and only a certain amount of people play tennis, you pay for that. If somebody's playing hockey, you pay for that. You want a pool membership, you pay for that. But our parks, whether they're the major parks or our community neighborhood parks, or, you know, those are give backs. That's what your tax dollars are for. And our concerts, we don't charge when you come in the door because it's for everyone. And it's a gorgeous setting. Everyone gets to pick wherever they want to sit. Like I said, it's been around forever. And I think you're starting to segregate the public when you're saying, well, if you pay a little extra, you'll get a better seat or you get a little bit more alcohol. I'm totally into what Victoria said about bringing in outside vendors. Bringing vendors from Great Neck to support Great Neck businesses is a wonderful way. But to start segregating people, no. We're an inclusive community. You're already in it as a member, as a resident of the Great Neck Park District. Why are we then separating out further? So that's my view on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Vanessa?
So
Your
I
view on the-
I
Go ahead.
attended a concert over the summer that had a VIP tent. I did not purchase a ticket. I was sitting with the regular free concert goers. I had friends who did purchase tickets for the VIP event. I did not find it intrusive or invasive. I didn't think it was segregated. I didn't feel segregated from my friends who chose to buy the ticket. I have no problem with it on its face. However, I can't make a final decision on it unless I first speak to the finance director and look at what the cost benefits were of the whole project. I really don't know if it was really a revenue generating activity or if the work and the labor that went into it really wasn't worth the outcome. That would be something I'd have to reserve for a later date after I've met with the finance director and looked at the records. But on its face, I don't have any objection to having a VIP tent. It's fine by me.
Okay, thank you. And last, Gary?
Yes, believe it or not,
Okay, I see.
believe it or not, I haven't heard of this, but I attended the concerts. I believe in the vendors, but I agree with Grace wholly. I don't think it's a good idea, but I would have to learn more about it. But I agree with Grace with everything she said. I'm more negative about it. I don't like the idea, but I reserve judgment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello? Hello? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see and hear you.
Oh, somehow I don't know what happened to my Zoom. Oh my God.
You're on.
You're on.
I'm on. Okay. All right. The next question is that it's been mentioned already that a shortage of public resident parking and the park's ownership of public parking lots near the train station across from some of the local businesses, maybe a coffee shop or something. Can the new parks commissioner make these parking lots available on weekends for the residents, as they are mostly vacant during these times? We'll start with Victoria Goodman.
I absolutely believe in that. I think it's important. It is vacant. And it's a shame because most people are scared to park there, or they don't have park permits, whatever the fact is. And, you know, sometimes kids and parents want to go into the city, or they want to go somewhere else and visit family. I think on the weekends, it's a good idea to not have it enforced where they need a park permit. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Grace, how do you feel about the parking by the train station?
Well, actually, it was just brought up at a recent work session with the board and the superintendent. So they're actually going to be going to an automated system, which is great because right now to get a permit, you have to go to the Great Neck House in person. And to get your yearly, your annual or your monthly, and stock up on your dailies. So this new system will be very efficient so that you can go to the actual machine and put in your information, and then it'll cut down also on our park district staff spending time. They literally look at every license plate. So now they'll have a scanner that can scan them. And obviously, if you are in there and you don't have the proper paperwork, you will still get tickets. But the superintendent was actually saying that they were looking into having overnight parking for the further slot. I think it's in Canterbury, and definitely on the weekends. I think the signage, I could be wrong, is just for Monday through Friday, and I'm not sure about the weekends. I'd have to look into that. But also the superintendent, it used to be permit hours were 9 to 5. But now he's saying with this new system, we may be even able to open those lots a little bit earlier because they kind of know when a lot is full. The first lot, by the train station is full before, 10 o'clock, and then the next one by noon. So they're hoping once they see that a lot's full, that maybe by 3 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock, they could open it up to the public, which would be wonderful, for the local shopping. So it's definitely something that's been currently being discussed. So I'm sure there will be further discussion on that, but it was nice to have overnight parking. So I would presume that would also mean weekends for the local people that are in the apartments as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa?
So I'm a huge
What is your
supporter
view?
of, I'm a huge supporter of supporting local businesses, and I would do anything as Park District Commissioner to ease the burden on local businesses and to give them our support. However, that should be with the caveat that there are people that do work on weekends and do commute into the city on weekends, that commute into the city on Sundays, and there should be spots reserved for those permit holders that need to park on Sundays. We don't want the lots to fill up with party goers, restaurant goers, catering hall goers, apartment dwellers, and then not have spots for people who need to commute on weekends. So I would be supportive of permitting that, as long as spots were reserved for those permit holders that need to commute on weekends. Thank you.
Okay. Gary, you're next on this question.
That's a tough question. I would either go either way. I would have to think about that a lot, but I don't know why they're just thinking of the one parking lot near the railroad. Why not the other parking lot across from shop near the post office is only a block away. So I would have to think about that a lot. Be honest with you, it sounds feasible, but I can't make a decision right now. Either way.
Okay, thank you. Dorothy, we'll end with you.
I definitely support better utilized the commuter parking. Of course, we have to improve parking experience for our residents and also for our commuters. I think in the past, the issue is we are talking about we have to meet the demand of increasing commuters because the railroad is going to expand to Grand Central. So we are anticipate a huge demand for parking, and the current administration have a detailed report about how to mitigate the issue. But now it's about there's a vacancy over the weekends. It's about the temporary plan and long-term plan. It's complicated. There's no yes and no yet, but I think the current administration, they are going to hire the parking consultants, and they're going to review all the information. We have 3 parking lots. We should for multi-purpose. It depends on the location of where is it close to the business or close to the railroad or close to the apartment buildings across to the commuter parking. So I'm hoping to review the report from the consultant, and then it probably is possibly we have the advisory committee to bring the resident input and also the expert opinion to work on something out for this commuter parking issue.
Okay, thank you. One of the interesting things when people send in questions is you begin to learn some of the specific issues that bother people with respect to their parks. And this next question has to do with wood chips in the park, and can they be switched to rubber flooring by this spring so that the children want to go to the park more frequently, don't have to worry about bugs and being dangerous. And I don't know, in the past, I guess commissioners have complained that it's too costly to change everything, that the wood chips are much better. People complain they're at higher taxes, and the families and the children, also want to, help in that regard. So we'll start with Grace. What is your view on wood chips and changing them to some kind of a rubber material?
Sure, thank you. Just so people differentiate, it's called Fibar. It's synthetically made stuff, so it's not the actual wood chips from a real tree, so your children won't be getting any kind of splinters or anything else. And it's certified for the playgrounds. My whole take on it is something that has to be reviewed. I know that parents have been talking about this for years. I saw a letter circulated from 2017 that a parent had asked the superintendent, Jason Maher, in regards to, and he gave a lengthy reply explaining that there is a definite cost to changing the materials, and that they were going to take it under advisement and look into consultants. And when they are ready, prepared to, change out a playground, it would be something that they would consider. But with the cost being a factor, they might have to have less playground equipment to kind of fit the budget, for the renovation of that particular playground. So again, that was 4 years ago. I don't know what kind of technology or pricing that would be. So some, the Board of Commissioners would definitely have to get that information from the superintendent to make a better decision on it. But I understand what parents are saying. When my kids were little, their socks and shoes were filled with it. But just to let you know, it is safe. It is following all the protocols. And again, it would be a cost factor, and we would get that out, to the community once we have that information and let them know. Thank you.
Okay. Vanessa?
Hi, so I've
Can
heard,
you hear me? Oh, okay.
hi. So yes, I've heard other parents express the same sentiments. I don't have a problem with the wood chips, and I don't have a problem with rubber mats. It would be something that I would be willing to look into. I'd also have to take into consideration the safety factor. Whichever is more safe would be what I would prefer to use. But it does seem to me that this is something that mothers are asking for, fathers are asking for, caregivers, and we should take that into consideration, and we should give some thought into putting these into the parks. I believe they are used in New York City's parks. When I go to the park with my nephew, I do recall seeing rubber mats, not wood chips, and it is much cleaner, and it is much more pleasant experience for the child and for the parent. So it would be something I would be willing to look into for sure. Thank you.
Okay. Gary, your view on wood chips versus the rubber flooring.
Yes. I remember the most of the parks were all sand. We used to have sand. Then they went to wood chips. I really never liked wood chips myself. I would probably change over, but we have to be careful with rubber mats too, because the heat of the sun. Sometimes.
You should move to your last question.
Okay,
Okay.
we're going to move to the last question.
Sure.
Will they be allowed to finish this question if they answer quickly?
Yes,
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
yes,
Oh.
Okay. Will the candidates be allowed to finish their answers to this question?
yes.
Oh, okay. So I have a 2 and 4 years old. As I heard, it applies for the safety rules. But I think if it's for me, I probably would say change it, but it's for the needs of the whole community and other parents have young children, what their concern is and how much the cost would be. I would refer this question to our superintendent to investigate more about it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Goodman, you'll be the last one on this question, and then we're going to go to the final question. Okay?
So my kids don't really
Victoria?
play on the playgrounds anymore. They're older. But when they were young, the wood chips would bother me. And I did have concerns of splinters, even though people think they don't get them, but it would bother me. And also just the hygiene of having the wood chips. The rubber flooring, I agree with Gary. You have to be careful because when it's really hot out, it could burn someone, literally. And you don't want that. So we have to look into possibly, maybe the sand option is a good option. Like I know at in the Grace Avenue Park, they have Wingate Park, they still have the sand, which my kids used to go to all the time. And I think that's an okay option. I know it's not the most efficient and not the most practical thing for parents because their kids come home with like all the sand in their shoes and their clothes, but I don't know, it's something to be looked into. And I agree with Dorothy. We have to look at the financials of it all. I've spoken to the superintendent. I've spoken to the other commissioners. It's been looked at almost every single year and it hasn't been passed, I guess, because it's very, very expensive. But again, it's something that a commissioner has to come in and look into themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so our final question, we're always looking for the big ideas, think big. So what would your big goal be for the park district? And would it also involve investing in park infrastructure? We'll start with Vanessa.
So my big goal, and the goal that I'm hearing from a lot of people, is to build an indoor rec center. That seems to be something the community wants very badly. My own personal wish is to increase some sort of programming, outdoor programming, because I want people outdoor in nature, that outdoor programming I would work with school principals and guidance counselors to use the parks for some sort of specialized programming to provide outreach for at-risk youth. That's something that's near and dear to my heart from when I worked with PTO. That's just my own personal preference, but the community preference seems to be the indoor rec center, something to do in the winter, some place to go for seniors, for kids, for teenagers. I do believe it is needed, and it would be something that if I were commissioner, I would look into.
Okay, very good. Gary, what about
Yes.
you?
My first thing I would focus on is lighting up the parks at night. Grace stole my thunder as far as solar lighting. There's most of our parks are pitch black at night. And I would like to focus on that. And also the dog parks. Maybe another dog park, and the dog park that we have needs a lot of work. It gets too muddy and dirty too fast, and it needs more attention. And of course, there's other things, but those are the main two things I would focus on. Lighting up the parks at night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dorothy, what would be your big idea for the parks?
I think I'm a big fan of the master plan. We serve with 600 people. We have like hundreds of ideas listed, but I can see our top priority is the indoor facility, recreation center, and people want a bike pass, and our residents want more adult programs. It's not about like what I want to do. I still want to see as for the past 2 years. It was 2 years ago, the master plan. I want to still continue to hear from what our residents want, what our priority is. I would like to explore the indoor facilities, but I would like to collaborate with the school district first. And I think the big goal I have is to reinstate the advisory committee, because a lot of goals are not easy. We need to involve the resident, have the residents draw on residents' opinions and feedback, and bring the expert to work on a working group. So I'm big fan of bringing active the advisory committee for dog park, marina, tennis, skating rink, open space, and the pool.
Okay. Victoria Goodman. You're next on this question.
Hi, I agree with almost everybody here that just spoke. I think we do need an indoor rec center where our residents can enjoy the winter time with their families, such as an indoor pool, soccer, basketball. Again, this has been looked into and spoken about for quite some time, but it's difficult to find the space in Great Neck. We don't have a lot of it. You know, most of it is taken up by our parks, by our facilities. So it's something to definitely look into. I know that I've spoken to Jason and both the commissioners, and they were looking to actually rent the space right next to Parkwood, the Parkwood Tennis Center, and the rink. We have that marsh land, which is not being used, but it's owned by North Hempstead. So they have been negotiating with them to take on that space and create a rec center, which would be tremendous. But again, it's a costly factor. It's something that the residents would have to absorb, which we have to look at. Also, I believe in volunteer squads. I've been talking to a lot of residents that have the time on their hands, that want to go out and they want to clean up the parks. A lot of our parks are not being cleaned up. We don't have the manpower. We don't have the funds. So a lot of these volunteer squads would help facilitate and clean up really quickly. I just have one more thing to say. Okay. Volunteer squads and the lighting. Gary is 100% right. We need more lighting in our parks. A lot of people like to play basketball. There's no lighting. We also need more recycling in our parks. That's mandatory. We don't have enough of it. Thank you.
Okay. Grace, we'll end this question with you.
Thank you. I do agree with everyone. I've read through the master plan. And while we're looking into the indoor facility on where to put it and how much the bond is going to cost and stuff like that, we've all said that the parks are our backyards. And as our backyards, they're part of our home. And a home, your foundation needs to be solid. And I think that we need to maintain and improve what we currently have. And also in that master plan, if you looked, there was a lot of things that needed to be done in our parks, in our neighborhood parks. Allenwood Park for years and years has had a drainage problem that prevents on sunny days the youth and the adults from playing their softball and their baseball. And we have drainage problems at Memorial Field. We haven't finished that project yet of redoing those fields. You know, we haven't gone to what we said before, the spray pads at different parks need some of their flooring replaced for safety issues. We need to, you know, look at our actual programs that we currently have. You know, are they staffed well? Are they being attended by our residents? What do we need? I know Dorothy mentioned the advisory committees that have been on the books, but have been, because of COVID and I guess other reasons, stagnant. But what's not been mentioned is that we need our neighborhood parks, our civic associations to also start having their input into Allenwood Park, into the Lakeville and the parks on the south end of town. Thomaston needs to be renovated. So while we're looking at the big picture of everything, we need to take care of what we currently have and maintain and improve it. So that's where I stand with the infrastructure. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. So this now concludes all these tough questions that were given to you, and you guys all did a great job. It's time for each of you to present your closing remarks, and please bear in mind they're limited to 2 minutes, please. We'll start in the same alphabetical order, and the first is Gary.
Yes. My closing statement is, I think it's time for a change and to get a commissioner in there that is a full-time commissioner and listens to the people and talks to the people, our residents. And I've been 20 years in the Park District and 30 years as a resident. And I think we should have a commissioner like we used to have with Ruth Tarriman, and I hope to be like her. And I know the politics of the parks, and I know I would be a good commissioner. Also, I know if any of the ladies would win, they would be fine themselves. Thank you.
Okay. Dorothy, I think you're next.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you, the League of Women Voters, for providing us with this platform. I'm an independent candidate that will bring fresh perspective and tangible assets, a skill set to the commission's role. My involvement has been on the user end. As I mentioned before, our families utilize all the parks, facilities, and we attend the recreation programs. Some of you may look at me, I'm a newer resident, but I think this is an asset. With young children, I'm the most vested in the Great Neck Park District. We need to engage our residents and to embrace the mission of our park district. And I will actively work on your behalf to ensure our parks continue to preserve its green space and offer programs to enrich our lives. I will ensure fiscal responsibilities with our 19 million budget spending, support additional funding options outside the property tax, allocate resources to enhance the safety and appeal of our neighborhood parks, improve parking experience for our residents, and better utilize commuter parking. We established the advisory committee. Whether you use the park for just a daily stroll or use the many programs and facilities to raise a family, I'm always here to listen to your concerns. If a program is popular, how can we expand it without adding a heavier burden to our taxpayer? How can we make our park district a better fit for you and your family? That will be a question that I'll be thinking about on a daily basis as a park commissioner. I hope I have your vote as a candidate with the most relevant field of expertise and skill set, a passion for serving and learning, and a vision for the future. Together, we can make our Great Neck Park District even greater. Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. And Victoria Goodman, would you give us your closing remarks, please?
Yes, thank you. Once again, a big thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. It's been a privilege to participate here, and it is important to all of Great Neck. I also would like to congratulate all the other candidates. I commend each and every one of you for bringing the positive vision for our park district. I believe having 5 candidates running this year is an indication of the importance of the position of Park Commissioner. And it is nice to know that there is so much care and concern for our neighborhood and community treasures. I would also like to acknowledge that whichever candidate is elected will have the daunting but inspirational task of following Bob Lincoln's tenure. To Bob Lincoln himself, I thank you for your dedicated service and look forward to building upon all you and the other park commissioners have accomplished through the years. I look forward to listening with an open mind, be patient with others, and be kind. Our community needs it more than ever. Implementation of change will come from our united interests. Finally, thank you to our audience. While virtually together this evening, I look forward to meeting you and learning your thoughts, and I want to see you at the parks. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Grace, could you give us your closing remarks, please?
Yes, I will. Thank you. All residents of the Great Neck Park District were gained by having me as a member of the Board of Commissioners. Passion, dedication, knowledge of the parks and facilities, committed to safeguarding our environment, and advocate for protecting green space. My executive and volunteer ability in the community has a proven record of delivering results. A partnership connecting with all Park District residents through our mutual interest and goal of better Park District programs and facilities. A leading advocate being proactive for inclusion of all residents. Trust, integrity, and transparency for delivering exceptional results. Fiscally responsible for the $19.5 million budget and finding ways to reduce the costs, such as solar or grants and programs. Bringing together the Great Neck administration and staff through better communication, planning, and utilizing resources. Improving communication between Park District residents and the staff through upgrades to the current online system. Improving the use of the Park Pass system to better analyze the full cost of service. Maximizing existing facility space and reimagining underutilized spaces. Bringing more green and nature programs to the parks. Creating community get-togethers for all ages. I am looking forward to using my love of the Park District, my intricate knowledge of the park's facilities and programs, combined with my educational, professional, and community experience for all Park District residents to succeed as commissioner. It would be an honor to be chosen to join the Board of Commissioners of the Great Neck Park District. Thank you for this opportunity to present myself and for the residents for taking the time to find out about me and how I can make the Great Neck Park District better for all Park District residents. And again, thank you so much, Judy, and to the League of Women Voters for doing this for us. It's been a pleasure. And thank you to my fellow candidates. Have a good evening and happy holidays to all and healthy.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa, we will end the remarks with you, please.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Port Washington-Manhasset and to Judy Temkin for hosting this forum for the candidates. My initiatives for the Park District are all based on ideas from my fellow Park District residents. My goals are as follows. I plan to improve park safety and cleanliness. I will personally inspect the premises on a regular basis and keep the lines of communication open with employees. I will ensure that timely repairs are made. I promise to be fiscally responsible in planning and spending without compromising the quality of service. I would like to increase the involvement of local restaurants and businesses in Park District events. I would like the Park District to provide health, art, and gardening courses to all residents. I would like to see increased sports and programs that promote socializing for special needs kids. And I would like to work with school principals and guidance counselors to use the parks for specialized programming to provide outreach to at-risk youth. I would also like for there to be more festivals, fairs, and social gatherings, such as the very successful Harvest Fest for other holidays, including a winter holiday festival and a gathering for Lunar New Year. I fully support the construction of an indoor recreation center without compromising green space. All parks should be re-examined, especially smaller parks such as Lakeville, to increase green space and to facilitate tree planting. Fenced-in facilities for dogs to socialize off-leash should be placed in local parks that can be reached by foot. This should be done without compromising aesthetic beauty or safety of park patrons. Finally, I would like to see a variety of music, dance, and entertainment options representing the diversity of our town for the summer series in Stepping Stone. Intramural after-school sports should be provided for elementary, middle school, and high school students who prefer not to participate in school, team, or travel sports. I thank you all for listening to my goals, welcome you to reach out to me with questions or comments, and I wish you a happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you.
Okay. I would like to thank all the candidates for their dedication, passion, and inspiration that they shared with us this evening. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues in the League of Women Voters for their outstanding service this evening and the value that they add to the debate process. This concludes our virtual forum this evening. Best of luck to all of you. You're all terrific. I don't know who I would vote for because you're all great. But thank you, and all the best for a Happy New Year.